roads.
Right.
And it was a long haul,
Yeah.
and the longest one, which is why I found your interest, was to the border on the River Salween.
Right, the Salween River, yeah.
That's well known to you, is it?
It is, yeah. I've been whitewater rafting on it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, yeah.
Is it true? It's supposed to be the fastest river in Asia.
It is, yeah.
I remember being told that.
It's really extreme.
Daddy, look at the dog.
It's beautiful, isn't he? It's an old English sheepdog, that is, I think.
Well, that was our doggy. Yes, some years ago.
Sweet.
He was called Napoleon. Of all things.
So where were you based? You were based
in Bengal.
Right.
Now we had to use 4 airfields near more Assam
Right.
for some of the longer raids.
Uh-huh.
And this raid to your way was the longest raid which we could do.
Right.
We had no reserve fuel, no spare petrol.
Right.
And we were told not to do any dummy runs.
Right.
Just to bomb the target and come
Yeah.
straight back. Only 2 of us went, 2 machines.
Right. And they were Wellingtons or
Wellingtons,
yes. Right.
Yes. And the place, and I've got my logbook here, I showed it to you mother earlier on.
Yeah.
A place called Namahek.
Really, I haven't heard of that. Right.
I can't trace it, but in the Squadron records, it does show the name that the alternate name, the
Right.
name was known by, but I've lost my darn Squadron.
I could look it up. What squadron was it, Hugo?
That was 99.
Right. And was it the Royal Air Force Asia? What was the sort of denomination or the?
We were under India Command, the India
Right.
Command Navy Naval.
Please sit down, darling. There's a good girl.
And,
Do you know what they don't talk about, Hugo? Sorry to interrupt you, but I read something recently in The Guardian about an Indian pilot who didn't get any recognition. There were quite a few Indian pilots, weren't there?
yes, yes.
And quite a few. They didn't really get talked about much, do they? Or
No. Well, by and large, they were on the fighter boys.
right,
A lot of them were on some Hurricanes,
yeah,
and then they went on to dive bombers.
right. What sort of planes were they? What sort of machines?
Multi-vengeance planes, I
right.
think they were. Yes, the Indian pilots, and we had 2 of them on our squadron.
Right.
And they were on some change, and they were doing duty pilot work.
Right.
They kept to themselves, but they were very nice fellows.
Mm-hmm. So what was your role? Were you?
I was an observer.
Right.
In other words, I did the navigating and the bomb aiming.
Right.
I've gone to, and on this road to Namak, we had to bomb this bridgehead on the Salween.
Right.
We were told we weren't told anything about it, because it was a bridgehead from the Japanese side.
Right.
And it was a tented camp,
Right.
and all we did was went straight across, dropped the bombs on the tented camp,
Uh-huh.
and had just enough fuel to get home.
Goodness.
But we felt, later in my career, I heard about it being a English prisoner of war.
Really? Yeah.
I felt terrible. But then I met one of them, and he said, oh, they were delighted.
Really? Yeah.
It meant that they could see that the RAF were heading...
Sure, but I hadn't forgotten about them as well.
I'd forgotten.
Yeah.
So whether we hit anybody, I hope not, but
Yeah.
that was the longest raid. But what I would like to know is, these refugees from Burma...
Yeah. And Bangladesh as well. Or the,
Yes, there as well, yes.
Yeah.
They're the Muslims, are they?
right, yeah.
Are they being hounded out, or are
They are, yeah. And in Burma, can you manage that?
Yeah.
It's been. I think it might go a little bit like Rwanda. You know, I hope to goodness not. But there are some very, there's some quite sort of aggressive Buddhist monks. Believe it or not, you know, it seems strange to say that, because that's exactly what they're against.
They're peaceful people, aren't
Sure,
they?
absolutely. That's what their whole philosophy is.
I believe so.
And but you know, there are good monks and bad monks. We've all seen them in Thailand, and I think in Burma. Wet, darling, take your shoes off there, sweetheart. Good girl. Is that all right for her to lay down on your chaise
Oh, yeah, if she's happy, yes. Sorry to leave you on your own.
She's good, she's fine.
Good girl, yeah.
She is. And but I think they're encouraging kind of this this hatred of the Muslims.
Of the Muslims?
Yeah.
Oh, they know, yes.
Yeah. And, you know, obviously there's money involved, there's land, and it's a power shift. And with Burma changing so rapidly, with, you know, eventually it will become not dissimilar to Thailand, I think. But while that process is in ongoing, people suffer, you know, and the minorities are going to suffer. Everyone's fighting for their share, really.
Which part of Burma would you say they were mainly from?
Well, they're from the way they're actually going along the Andaman Sea by boats, because the land borders are very restricted. They can't get across there.
Sure.
So they're coming by boats and trying to get to Phuket and the Similan Islands. Yeah. So they're from the sort of central near Irrawaddy area, and but all over, and it's not talked about so much. All over Burma, I think they're being hounded out.
Oh dear.
And it is a shame. It's a terrible. But it's not talked about in the Western media as much as it should be.
I hardly hear a thing about it.
Yeah.
What interested me also, do you know a place? Have you heard of a place called Hey-Ho in Burma?
No, I haven't.
It's quite a popular tourist, or not the tourists go there very much, but it's a beauty spot. Hey-Ho in the centre, in the Shan States.
Oh right.
And it's near a lake called Inle Lake, which is...
I've heard of that.
Have you heard that?
Yeah, I have. And also Tonle, Tonle as well. I think that's quite close as well. But, so have you been back to Burma recently?
No.
Not recently, but...
No, not at all. Not once. And now that it's getting a bit more easy, I'm too old to go, of course, now. But it would be lovely to have seen it again. It was a beautiful country.
Yeah, it was, and the people.
Nice people.
Very nice people.
Very nice.
And if you think about the natural, you know, it's as beautiful. It's got such a beautiful coastline, and I haven't explored it much. I've only been to Taki Lek and Rangoon or Yangon.
Yes.
But I haven't been to too many places because it's restricted, wasn't it?
Oh yes, yeah.
But now they're opening up. They're encouraging investment. And the governments are becoming a little bit more open, you know, and hopefully they're not treating the people as poorly as they did before, because they treated them awfully. I've met so many Burmese people that have made it to Thailand, and you know, and they'll work for a pittance on a building site, but it's far more preferable to being.
Are they any better off in Thailand there than they were?
Yeah, they are. But can you sit down, sweetheart? Good girl. Good girl.
She's very good.
She is. Do you know what we're gonna do, darling? I'm gonna come back on my own if that's all right, or another time. But you're okay for a few minutes, aren't you?
Oh, no pain. Whatever time.
Yeah.
I'll show you when you come again. I've got maps of Burma.
Really?
But it doesn't quite cover the border. That's what I'm afraid of.
Right.
I was wondering how far up this place, Namahek, was. I think it was due east of a place called Tungu.
Right.
Now, Tungu's getting on for the middle south of Burma.
Right.
There's quite a big fighter base, a Japanese fighter base.
Yeah.
And so we were sort of halfway down the Burmese border.
Yeah.
No, we had some hectic times out
I
there.
bet. What was it like? So what would a kind of sortie be like, or a run? Would it?
Well, you had...
I know it's a silly question, or it's...
At first we had the Japanese, they were superior to us in numbers, in the air, and in the type of plane they'd got.
They had a Zero, didn't they? Or was it a Zero?
Zeros, yes.
And they were really good planes, weren't they?
Manoeuvrable, yes. And even our Hurricanes couldn't cope with them.
No.
Later the Spitfires, we had a Spitfire squadron arrive,
Oh, fabulous.
And that made mincemeat of these Japanese planes.
Did it? Really?
A real slaughter it was. Yeah.
Really?
Now, in the south near Rangoon, the airfield was called Mingladon.
Right. I've heard of that name. I've heard of it.
It would be the main airfield, I think,
Right.
now.
Uh-huh.
You haven't been inside Burma, though?
Not too much, no. But Rangoon. But you when I went, you had to have a guide with you, i.e. a spy with you. So you had to, you couldn't actually sort of go off on your own. Now I think you can much more and sort of explore. But no, that's fascinating. So you'd be accompanied with Hurricanes and Spitfires when you went off on a run.
No, we were night bombers.
Right.
No, we weren't accompanied at all. But when the Japs were invading, doing so well, they came across in the direction of Rangoon.
Yeah.
And they were attacking firstly the airfields at Mingladon.
Right.
And the main airfield had 3 runways.
Uh-huh.
One was used by Hurricane Crowd,
Right.
another by Blenheim Crowd,
Uh-huh.
and the third was an American outfit called the American Volunteer Group, AVG.
Right.
And there was a real old panic, and if there was an air raid, the 3 squadrons trying to get up into the air on this 3 runway.
Goodness me, yeah.
I don't think they crashed any time, but it was a bit dicey, really.
I bet. Yeah. But how did you sort of get that posting, or was it just something that was...
Oh, it all happened, yeah.
Did you have anything to do with it, or you were just told where to go?
No. It was a long story, a bit boring, but at the end
What
of
sort? She is.
Oh, yeah.
She's having a wiggle. She's getting a wiggle on, aren't you, monkey?
I'm not monkey.
You're not monkey, no.
You're a monkey.
Can you see any tie in her at all, Hugo? Can you... Not much, is there?
No,
She is. She's half Thai, this little one.
plenty of life in there.
There is. She's my little dream girl, aren't you? Hmm?
So what age is she now?
How old are you, Bella? Answer Hugo. Go on. You know how old you are.
5.
5 years old.
5. Oh, yeah, lucky old thing.
I know. What a good age, isn't it? Do you know how old Hugo is?
No?
He might tell you if you ask him.
I'll tell you, 93.
Goodness me.
Terrible age, isn't it?
Great age, I think.
Oh, it's the end of time, yeah.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
What do you put your longevity down to, Hugo? Could you?
Well, people are going on for a time now, aren't they? In the village, in your care crowd today,
Yeah.
there'll be several over 90.
Yeah. It's great, isn't it? You know what? In Thailand, you don't get people living this long. They don't.
Oh, I thought they got some real oldies out
You
of
do. You get Isabella's great grandmother. What's she called, Bella? Yaituat, right?
No.
How old? Yaituat is about 90. We don't know for sure.
And have two people in Thailand died.
Yeah. Did they?
Yeah.
Oh dear.
So did she live near you?
Oh, she does. She's still
Yeah.
going.
In Korea.
She lives in Kolat, Nakhon Ratchasima, where there was a big bomber base as well.
Have 2 people died.
Oh dear.
Yeah.
Well, Yaituat's still going strong, and she squats down, and she can stand up from a kneeling lotus position. She can stand up. She's very
Well, of course,
fit.
people do I suppose through lack of chairs or something.
Yeah, right. It is
Daddy,
that.
They can get to their feet so easily.
They can, and she's very light. She's kind of bird-like, She's kind of, but lovely. And she doesn't eat much, but she chews beetle nut. I don't know if do you remember in
beetle
Burma?
nut, yeah, sure, yeah.
And it does something for her. She
Does
loves
it?
it. Yeah, and she eats very. She
Yeah.
eats a lot of vegetables,
no,
lots of
no.
herbs,
No.
and not much meat.
Eat. Sometimes you can eat.
Does she eat a lot of fish? Does she eat fish?
She does, and lots of spicy, lots of chilies and stuff. But she's in great condition. But Some of the
And
the
some-
men don't last
and
long.
and the
Yeah,
then cook
Every day
every day for your tour.
she does.
Oh.
Yeah, too. The great grandmother has a daughter who just looks after her constantly,
Yeah.
and
Our great grandmother